Hey YouTubers, Gasser Dave here. I'm going to install a temperature sensor. So we're installing that in the thermostat housing. I have an extension on the thermostat housing. So let's get into it and I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay, so here's the fan relay with thermostat type of thing that I'm using. As you can see, it comes on at 195. Shuts off at 185. This is what it looks like. That just goes inside my thermostat housing, replaces a plug I had, a 3/8 plug, so that way I can control the when the fan comes on and off. Okay, so there's my thermostat housing. You can see that I have an extension on the top of it, or on the bottom of it. And that's because I needed some extra outlets, because I'm putting in my one of my water temperature electric gauges go on one side. I've already loosened it up some, so if I don't get too shaky with the camera, let's remove this. And then we'll take this and see if it fits in there to install it. Now I see what you guys mean when it's hard to do stuff while holding the camera and trying to install things. Let's see if I can do this. If I can't. Okay, so that fits in the hole. I've got to wrap some electrical tape around it, and then I'll install it, and then I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, when I said electrical tape, I meant plumber's tape. So it's Teflon tape. Remember to wrap it the direction that it's riding on so it tightens itself on and not tightens itself off. So know the rotation that's going on. And when you do about 2 or 3 wraps, if you have some plumber sealant, it'll work just as good. Okay, so that's on there. So the next thing I'm going to do is install this into the extension housing. Okay, so the fitting is in the housing. Now I'm going to tighten it into the housing with a 7/8 inch wrench. Now I'll keep doing it until it's tight. I forgot to mention that I also already had drained the radiator fluid out. So there's no antifreeze, I already drained it, and that's why you didn't see any liquid come out. So let me tighten this on and then we'll get right back to you. Okay, it's all tightened in there. You can see that there's 2 plugs out here. One side goes to a ground, the other side of the plug is going to go to a relay, and the relay is what's going to turn the fan on and off. I also have AC, so also what will go to that will be my trinary switch. So when the compressor reaches a certain temperature, the electric fan will also come on. That way it doesn't overheat for the AC. But that's only when I'm running AC. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to replace the fan. So I'm going to take off that racing fan that you see right there, and I'll show you the fan that I'm going to put in its place. Okay, so here's the fan that I'm going to be replacing, or I'm going to be installing and replacing the racing fan with. It has a little bit bigger blades, and so that'll probably aid in my cooling too. I'm not going to install the electric fan until I test it with the new radiator, new engine-driven fan. I just installed the sensor in case this doesn't work. Then I don't have to drain the fluid again to do it, and I'm all ready to put the electric fan in if need be. So let's get on and replace this engine-driven fan. Okay, the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to remove the radiator shroud so I can get to the bolts for the fan, and then I can take out the fan, put the new fan in, and then put the radiator shroud back in. So I'll be back with you as soon as I get the radiator shroud taken off. Okay, so I've taken off the radiator shroud. That's all taken off. And now we'll take off the fan, and then I'll show you the difference between the two fans. Okay, so here's the differences in the fan that I'm going to be. Over here, this is the fan that I took out. As you can see, it's a racing fan, doesn't have much pitch to the blade. And over here is the one I'm replacing it with. This one, you can see the pitch of the blade. So this one should cool a lot better. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm replacing the fan, seeing if it'll cool. And if I need the electric fan, I have the relay already put in, and I have the electric fan already also, so I can put that in. The wiring kit I used also has the wire for the relay already turned in, already plugged in, and I left it installed and let it run up to the front of the engine, so in case I ever did one day want to put in the electric fan. But hopefully I won't have to. Here's the new fan. I'll let you know as soon as I install it. Let's go around to the car and I'll show you with the engine with the fan out. So there's the radiator, there's the fan out, and I'll be installing that. Here's the 4 bolts. Let me tell you, that was a pain in the butt to take those 4 bolts out, so I'm not looking forward to putting it back in, especially when the temperature in the garage here today is probably in the high 90s. Okay, I know some of you are in snow, so maybe high 90s is a good thing. So anyhow, I'll get back with you as soon as I install this fan. Okay, let me show you what the problem is here. I had to take out the radiator now because I couldn't get to those bolts with the radiator installed. So the clearance is tight, but not that bad. It's probably 2 inches, but I still couldn't get my fingers in there. I guess I got fat hands. Now I came up with another issue. Let me show you what that issue is. It's going to get a little dizzy here in a minute while I pick up some stuff. So here's the new fan. Stay with me, I'm coming. Alright, so if I put the new fan blade in, and I put it up against it, you'll see it hits my fan belt for my air conditioner. So I need to get a 1/2 inch spacer to space the fan away from that fan belt right there from my air conditioner. And that will put it a little bit closer to my radiator, which will help cooling also. But this is the problem, it's too close to this. And so it'll space it about a 1/2 inch away from this, which is perfect. And it'll give it about a 1.5 inch from the radiator. They say 1 inch, but if I put a 1 inch spacer, it's too close. So I think a 1/2 inch is going to be just right. It'll give me the needed clearance for this, the needed clearance for the radiator when I put the radiator back in. So I got to run to the store and get that. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back from the store. I got the fan spacer I needed. I needed a 1/2 inch fan spacer in order to make sure those blades clear the air compressor for the AC. So I've got about 3/4 of an inch clearance there now. And you can see the fan spacer right there. It's a 1/2 inch fan spacer, so it's all been bolted up. Now I have to bolt in the radiator. I've got it sitting in there, but I have to bolt in the radiator. I've got all the lines except for the top one run to the radiator, and I've got to put back in the fan belt for the air compressor for the AC unit, and I've got to put back in the fan shroud. So let me get those and I'll get back with you. Okay, let's see what I've done now. I've got the fan belt hooked up. I've got the radiator bolted in. I've got the fan shroud bolted in. All the hoses are hooked up, so I got the hoses both hooked up. And it's hard to see the lower hose, but I got the lower hose hooked up. So now I'm going to fill it up with fluid. I'm also going to run this stuff here. It's called water wetter. It's supposed to be pretty good stuff. It says it helps it to run 20 degrees cooler. As I said, I'm not really overheating bad if you call 190 to 200 degrees bad. I like it running a little bit cooler than that, especially in the summertime, because in the summertime it was creeping up even higher than 200. And I don't want that to happen because, like I said, I drive this all the time. So let me pour this in, and then we'll get the 50-50 mix of the antifreeze, And then let's start it up. Okay, I've got the water wetter in. I've filled it with 2 gallons so far of the antifreeze 50-50 mix. So let's start her up and see if we have any leaks, and also let the water run through it some. Okay, nothing's rubbing. It looks like I have no leaks. Let me run it for a little bit, get the water circulating real good, and I'll get right back with you. Okay, so let's see how this works. I'm going to let it build up the temperature a little bit, see how warm it gets by idling. Okay, I'm sitting here in the car. I've got 2 water temp gauges. The first one, been running for a little bit. It's about 150. The other one, something tells me I unplugged that one, forgot to plug it back in. Let me go out and check it and see if it's a plug-in. Okay, that water temperature sender was unplugged. So now you can see I'm running about 170, 60 pounds of oil pressure. The one up top here, coming from a different area. The one that I just showed you is in the block. This one's in the thermostat housing. And this one's about 170 also. So it looks like I've cured the, at least when you idle, the the water temperature. So let me take it out for a test drive and we'll see. Okay, so here I am driving the car. It hasn't gone over 175 yet, and it's about 85 degrees outside. So it used to run 100 degrees cooler than the ambient temperature. So right now it's running exactly like it should, because I have a 175 thermostat in there. So it's doing exactly like it should do. I think I've got my overheating problem cured. So let me take it back to the garage and let's see what it runs all the way home. Okay, thanks for watching. I fixed the overheating problem. So what did we learn? We learned that we can put a better fan on it. We learned that we can move the fan closer to the radiator. I already had a fan shroud. We also used some water wetter, which is helps the cooling capacity. And we mixed that with 50-50 antifreeze. So hopefully I won't need the electric fan, but if I do, I also installed that electric fan switch. So that way I won't have to re-drain and start all over with the radiator. So thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next project. Thanks a lot. So here's a picture of Maggie, my shop dog. She's a Bernese mountain dog. Maggie, what are you looking at? So she's about 6 years old, and she's just a big baby is what she is. So she's about 95 pounds. So anyhow, that's my shop dog. That's Maggie. Thanks a lot. Say bye, Mags. Okay, that'll work too. Bye.